Hello there, World of Tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, World of Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be talking about the 3 different types of bad players in a World of Tanks Blitz. Now, before we break into these 3 different types of players, the first thing I should talk about is what does it mean to be a bad player? First things first, you have to be losing more than you win. That is very common sense and very simple. If you take offense to me calling you a bad player because you have less than a 50% win rate, guess what? You're a bad player. There's nothing wrong with that, but you're still bad. I mean, you're losing more than you're winning. Therefore, in common terms, you are a bad player. I also consider players that have 3,000-4,000 games in their Smasher, and the only reason why they break 50% bad at the game. I got a news flash for you. If you're the kind of player that thinks playing an overpowered vehicle like the Annihilator or the Smasher makes you better at the game because you're winning more in those tanks, it doesn't. In fact, players like myself, Batchat Begins, or probably any good player out there are actually going to think of you as a worse player if we see you have a couple thousand games in a Smasher, because we realize that really you're so bad at the game you have divulged to buying an overpowered tank to pretend like you're good when in reality you're actually much worse than your statistics show. We can still very easily look at all the other stats you have, all the other tanks you're playing in, and see that very clearly you're not performing the same as you are on paper. So with that aside, and now that you know what I consider a bad player and what general rules of society would consider to be bad at the game, we're going to break into the 3 different types of bad players in a World of Tanks Blitz. 2 of them I absolutely hate having on my team. 1 of them I don't mind. The first one that I hate having on my team is the rinse and repeat player. What I mean by that is the player that simply, let's play, plays a 183. Presses battle, dies instantly, pens 1 hash shell, or doesn't even pen the shell, just, you know, bounces a concept or something with a hash, does 400, and then dies. And then instantly goes into a new battle in their AMX 50B and does the same thing, YOLOs somebody and dies. That type of player is the rinse and repeat player. That is the kind of player that literally does not care whether they do good, whether they do bad. Honestly, I don't even know what the motive for them to play the game is. They just press battle and say, oh, tank drive, and then die. That kind of player is probably by far my most hated player in the game. They are impossible to talk to in chat. They literally drive the way they're faced. So if they're in an AMX 50B on Middleburg and they see they're faced towards town, they will drive towards town even though going up is a much smarter decision. And if you tell them to go up, guess what? They won't ever listen to you. They probably don't even know what English is or how to read or write. So at that point, it really sucks, but there's nothing you can do about it. And that type of player is by far my most hated type of player. Now, that player also falls in line with the player that just wants to have a bit of fun. That player, well, it's a bit more of an argument. I had a couple months ago a discussion with somebody on my stream that tried saying that their dad plays World of Tanks Blitz, and really their dad just tries to have a bit of fun in Blitz and doesn't really care if he does good or bad. And me saying that I hate those types of people is a bit rude because some people just want to have fun in the game. And sure, you could make that argument. But the argument I make back is, first of all, why do you have to play in Tier 10? Why can't it be in Tier 6, Tier 7, where people don't care about statistics? If you are specifically playing in Tier 10, and you don't care about doing good or bad, then you're very clearly showing right there that you're a bit ignorant. You just don't care about your teammates, and even though it's a team-based game, you'd rather suck and bring down the fun of the rest of your team because you just personally want to have fun. The thing I always say is, why are you playing a multiplayer team-based game then? Why aren't you playing, you know, Sprocket or Tanky Online, a game where literally nobody cares whether you do good or bad, because at the end of the day, it's just a game meant to have fun in. World of Tanks Blitz is definitely a strategy-based game, and if you try to make the argument it isn't, it's literally called a strategy game by Wargaming themselves on the App Store. So making the argument that you shouldn't have to learn because it's only about fun is wrong. You should try to learn to get better at this game. And I don't even understand the argument of why you wouldn't want to get better. That's like saying, well, I play chess, but I just like moving the pawns back and forth. I don't actually know how to play, nor do I ever want to learn how to play. Like, that makes no sense. Why would you play a game and not want to do better at that game? That is the whole point of a game, right? So I've never understood that argument. Personally, what I always say is play a different game or just play game modes. World of Tanks Blitz has game modes all the time. Gravity mode, Uprising, Boss mode, Mad games, Burning games. Plus, there's training rooms all the time. Again, if you want to play tier 10 and you don't care about stats or anything like that, then don't be ignorant. Don't be a douchebag. Go play in a game mode where it doesn't affect your teammates' statistics and where you're not going to bring your team down because you simply don't care enough to learn how to get better. That's as simple as that one gets, and that is why I will never, ever like having a player that does not listen to you, does not want to get better, because it's pointless. It's literally pointless to have a player like that. It's like getting picked for tug of war, and you get the team with all the scrawny little white kids that suck. So, with that player aside, now we move on to the next type of bad player, and that is the bad player that makes excuses to why they're doing bad. For example, there's 3 different types of main excuses. The first one is the matchmaker is rigged. Now, Batchat Begins and I made a video talking about the matchmaker being rigged, and we specifically stated that it is only rigged towards people that are good at the game. And when I say good, I don't mean 50%, 55%, I mean 65%, 70% players that are actually influencing their battles enough to come out with victories more than defeats by a decent amount. It's going to be affecting those types of players. What I found very ironic is that a lot of bad players, after Batchat and I made that video, started swarming the Blitz forums, Blitz Reddit, and as well the World of Tanks Blitz official Discord saying, "Oh my god, the matchmaker's rigged," even though the majority of these players crying that the matchmaker is rigged are less than 50% win rate, which Batchat and I specifically stated actually tries to give you better games. So very simply put, if you think the matchmaker's rigged against you and you're less than a 50% win rate, you're wrong. It's not. It's actually rigged for you to do better, and somehow you are still defying the odds and doing bad. Impressive, I know. So that's the first argument. The matchmaker's rigged against me, even though players like myself, even with the matchmaker being rigged against me, is still able to go 75% win rate with 3,500 average damage. So making an excuse to the matchmaker why you do bad is not a correct excuse. Making the excuse that RNG screwed me over is another pointless excuse. I love watching players in mediums in like a leopard or something just say, "Oh my god, it's RNG that caused me the miss," or, you know, "I'm in a 60 TP and I snapped my shell instantly, but nope, it's RNG's fault that I didn't aim in," you know, always RNG's fault. That makes no sense. There's a reason why good players are good at this game, and it's because they don't blame other reasons to why they do bad. For example, when I'm in a 1 versus 3 engagement, if I lose that engagement, I'm never just gonna complain, you know? I mean, obviously, I'll probably complain that my team sucked. That's just normal. But more specifically, what I try to do when I'm in a 1 versus 3 engagement, if I lose, is I try to think if I could have won. And if I could have won, then I will try to remember next time, if I ever get stuck in that engagement, what I could have done better and how I could have won that battle. That is something I always try to do. I mean, just in the past week, I've been playing the Concept 1B, and I've been trying to figure out whether the Concept is doing a little bit poor because of my personal playstyle, because obviously not everybody's playstyle is exactly the same every single month, depending on what tanks you play. So I've been messing around with the Concept, trying to figure out if it's my playstyle, if I'm playing it too aggressive or passive. I'm never going to blame something or somebody for the reason I'm doing bad. That's stupid, that's selfish, and that's lame. It's a lame excuse to why you're doing bad at the game. Very simply put, if you're constantly blaming somebody else or some other thing for the reason why you're doing bad, you are the reason why you're doing bad. It's that dang simple. I'm not going to blame RNG to why I'm doing bad. And more specifically, this is another argument a lot of people try to make. "Oh my god, overpowered tanks are causing me to lose. Oh, pay to win, stop firing premium ammunition." Guess what? You can load premium ammo. It's part of a game. Grow up. If you're the kind of player that thinks firing premium ammo is stupid, you're stupid. Why would you not take advantage of something given to you? That's like being given $1 million and saying, "Nah, I don't want the $1 million. I'd rather be poor so I can complain about being poor. You're like Scrooge McDuck. What's the point of that? Premium ammo exists, and anybody can use it as long as you have credits, which, by the way, you can earn credits with premiums, and Wargaming gives away a lot of premiums for free. See this tank I'm driving right here, the Steyr Waffenträger? You can get this, you could have gotten this tank for free. Guess what? There's at least a handful of premiums every single year that you can get for free. And I should also point out that the majority of these premiums are really dang good. A lot of people always say the game's pay to win, yet every single year the Blitz Fair rolls around the corner, and you can literally get a snow globe for free, getting some of the most overpowered tanks for absolutely free. Once again, a useless argument that makes no sense and goes nowhere. You can get free gold by watching daily ads in Blitz. You can get free gold by literally participating in events. I've probably made close to, I would say, 4,000 or 5,000 free gold a year just by barely participating in the battle pass and the free battle pass at that. Plus the fact that, you know, I can do daily ads and Wargaming releases an event every now and then. It is very easy to make gold for free. So once again, those excuses are BS and they make no sense. Those are the two types of bad players I do not like having on my teams, because all they are is making pointless excuses to why they suck, or the other reason is they just don't care and they keep going into battle and battle and battle and dying. I don't care what excuse anybody makes to, oh, I just want to have fun. You shouldn't be doing that in tier 10. If you just want to have fun, go mess around in tier 7. Go mess around in tier 6, tier 8. Don't mess around in tier 10 and ruin the fun of other people, especially on your team, just because you want to have fun personally. That's just arrogant. Second of all, as I just said, if you're less than 50% win rate, guess what? No excuse is going to change the fact that you are the reason why you were less than 50% win rate. You should get better at the game, and you should start focusing on the problems that you make. Everybody at one point was bad at the game. You think players like myself, Fatness, or Batchat Begins, really any good player, were all amazing when we first started? No. In fact, my OG account is still like 49, 48%. I was never amazing at the game when I first started, but it's the fact that I kept compiling information as I played the game and storing that information in this thing called a brain and learning how to get better. I never once blamed the matchmaker when I was learning how to get better. I simply just learned from my mistakes, said, oh boy, look, I poked a tank destroyer. I got shot. Gee, how about I don't poke that tank destroyer again? I know it's tempting, but maybe if you just don't poke him. So, yeah. Now we move on to the final part of today's video. The type of player I don't mind having on my team, even though they're bad, and that is the type of player that gets better at the game. Just like how I once was bad at the game and wanted to get better, that is exactly how most bad players should try to be. If you have a couple thousand battles under your belt and you're struggling to get better, but you're watching YouTube and you're trying to learn from your mistakes, then good for you. Honestly, I support you and I have no problems with you. You're the kind of person that I want on my team, because even if you don't do well, as long as you're trying to understand the mistakes you made, then you could do better. And eventually you probably will do very good. It's the people that have no determination that will make excuses for everything in life, just like they probably do in their jobs when they don't turn in their work correctly, why they procrastinate. Those are the kind of people that I have problems with in Blitz, and it's very irritating to get them over and over in the majority of tier 10 battles I play. I can literally go to any battle I play in tier 10. Let's say, for example, that Concept 1B battle I just showcased, which I did 6,000 damage in. If I were to exit out of this battle and just look at the post-game results, I guarantee that at least half of my team did nothing. Like, literally nothing to support me. We have a T110E4, 650 damage, not really anything. A Super Conqueror, 46% win rate, 9,000 games. How do you have a 46% win rate, 9,000 battles, and you've still never cared to get better in the game? T110E5, 49%. This player averages 668 damage. 668. I mean, that's effectively 2 shots in a battle. And you can see even more specifically, the higher the tier you go, up to tier 10, 34%, 36%, 34%. I don't feel bad calling this player bad, because they are bad. If you get offended with me pointing out why this person is bad, then you're part of the problem. You shouldn't be offended by me showcasing what being bad looks like. It's a fact. Being 30% in a vehicle does not make you good. You know, if this guy had a 60% win rate, are you going to be offended because I called him good? That's the exact same argument. So if you take offense to me calling somebody bad like that, you are the problem. When we look at, this 1-2-1 was actually good. I'll give him credit. He helped me out a bit. But really, for the most part, you can see that a lot of the players you get on your team are mainly 40%. And the majority of players that are 40% really don't know how to play. So if you are in that 40% bracket and you actually want to learn how to get better at the game, stop making excuses, go into the battles, try to learn from your mistakes, and you can do better. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. It's currently 4:22 in the morning. I'm a little bit ornery, and it's not like I had a bad streak or anything like that. I mean, you can see all I did was play the Caliban today, and I had a pretty good winning streak in it too. So it's just something that I wanted to make a video on because it's something that popped into my mind, and I feel very, very dedicated about it. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.